Hey everyone, welcome back. As you could probably hear in the previous clip, it was really windy this day, so I decided to take the audio out and do a voiceover. So on this day, I was just getting some containers ready for indoor seed starting and for winter sowing. So as you can see, I'm drilling holes in the bottom of the milk jugs, and then I have some little fruit containers and some larger salad containers. And so I'm drilling about 4 to 6 holes in the bottom of each of the containers, and I also will drill some holes on the top to allow water to get in. And I went and got a 2x4 to put up inside of the container, especially on these thinner ones, so that I could drill the holes easier, and that really helped a lot. On this particular day, the sun was shining and it was 47 degrees, but with the wind blowing, it said it should feel like around 43. I finally finished drilling all of the holes in the bottom of the containers, and now I'm going to fill them up with soil. I dampened the soil with some rainwater that I had in a bucket that had been setting out, and then I'm going to check each container as I fill it to make sure there's enough soil in the bottom for the roots to develop, and then I want to make sure that the cover I put on top leaves enough room for when the plants grow, that they have room to grow. And it looks like here I decided that lid needed some holes in the top to allow for rainwater to go in. And so that's the gist of what I'm doing here. I was just going to keep filling the bottom containers, then checking and making sure I have a lid for it. And then when I do the winter sowing later, I can tape the two together. Does anyone else enjoy doing repetitive projects like this? When you're out there in your own little world, I think I was listening to a podcast or two this day, trying to block out all the neighborhood noise. I believe it was a Saturday, and I get into a rhythm and I just think about things, and it gets you out of the house, especially this time of year, and it's just something I found I really enjoy doing. So here I'm showing you the scissors I've had since probably the early 90s, and I had written on them with a Sharpie that says "Mom scissors do not use," and my boys knew that they better not ever use those scissors. Those were my sewing scissors, and they weren't anything fancy. It was just something I had gotten at Walmart. But anytime you cut paper or cardboard or construction paper with a pair of scissors, you can no longer use them on fabric. It just won't cut. So those were my scissors. Under no circumstances was anyone ever to use them but me. And it's 2023 and I still have those scissors. But now I keep them out in my building because, alas, they're not sharp anymore. But they work for things that I need out in the yard. I just thought that was funny. Here I'm just taking a utility knife and I'm cutting around the milk jug. I'm going to cut it so that I leave a little piece attached near the handle, and it makes like a hinge, and therefore it's easier to tape the pieces back together if you can leave it hinged like that, and I found it worked really well. My next video is going to be me sewing the seeds in these for winter sowing, and I'll show you how I tape them up and what I plant and everything, so you'll have to tune back in to watch that. This is the vinegar jug, and it's more sturdy plastic and it's a little harder to cut. And that one I decided for some reason not to hinge it. So this is my last one, the last milk jug that I have to cut. And I'm going to start filling everything up with soil. And I'm about to run out of soil here. And what I've done is I had like some seed starting soil and just some regular potting soil, 2 different bags, and I just dumped it all in the container and added some water to it just to get rid of those odd bags that were in my building. And it just eliminated me having to go buy some more and got rid of some half-open bags that I had been hanging on to. So that's why you'll see the several different types of bags that I'm emptying here. I'm really excited about trying winter sowing this year. These little jugs and salad containers, when sealed together, they act like a little greenhouse, and when Mother Nature decides it's time, the seeds will germinate, and you can transplant them out in your garden when they're, I think, several inches tall. And you don't have to worry about trying to set everything up in the house with grow lights and making sure they get watered, though you do have to check on them outside and make sure that they're staying moist in there. If you've not been getting a lot of rain, you need to, give them a little bit of water. But I like the hands-off approach to it, and I don't have a lot of room in the house. So what I decided to do was do my tomatoes and peppers and those kinds of things in the house. And I think I will try maybe a jug of maybe a couple of peppers and a couple of tomatoes. But I think for the most part, I'm going to just try flowers this year in the winter sowing and see what I think about it before I try to start things that I want to make sure make it so that I don't have to go start somewhere. So that's my thinking on the way that I'm doing it this year, and hopefully it'll be successful and I'll do even more next year. I wanted to see what we wound up with. So for winter sowing, what I did was took 2 bottoms. I'm going to tape them together once I sow them because the seedlings wouldn't have been able to get very tall if I'd used the lid that came with the containers. So I have this one big salad container and then 2 of the little fruit containers. So that's 3 milk jugs, so that's 6, 1 vinegar bottle, that's 7, and down here I've got another fruit and another salad, so that's 9. So I have 9 winter sowing vessels of various sizes, and then for seed starting in the house, I have these 3, which I need to get a bottom tray for. And as you saw, I just used these foil aluminum trays. We had them in the garage where we had bought them for a family dinner, and they didn't get used, and then they got bent up. So instead of throwing them away, I'm going to use them as the tray to catch the water in. And then I had one typical seed sowing flat, and then that big tray. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to count that just as 1, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I knew that the rest of the video was going to be a voiceover. It is Saturday afternoon and there are lots of noises, car alarms going off, horns, loud motors. So I just wanted to hop in on the end and count those containers and to thank you again for watching my video. See you in the next one. And there they go again. Bye.